Here's something that will challenge everything you think you know about modern tennis success. A 37-year-old Frenchman is proving that raw athleticism isn't everything in professional sports. The unlikely tennis survivor who's rewriting the playbook. Meet Adrian Mannarino, a tennis phenomenon who shouldn't exist in today's power-obsessed ATP landscape, yet continues to defy every expectation thrown his way. This French left-hander represents something increasingly rare in professional tennis, proof that intelligence and craftsmanship can triumph over youth and explosive athleticism. Since launching his professional career back in 2008, Mannarino has accumulated merely 5 ATP tournament victories, a number that might seem underwhelming at first glance. But here's where it gets controversial. Should we measure a player's worth solely by their trophy count? Or is there something more valuable at play? The veteran has achieved top 20 status during his career, yet what truly sets him apart isn't his peak ranking. It's his extraordinary staying power in a sport that typically chews up and spits out aging competitors. Consider this striking statistic. Throughout his entire professional journey, Mannarino has managed to secure more than 30 tour-level victories in a single season just twice, once in 2017 and again in 2023. And this is the part most people miss. That second peak came when he was already well past his supposed prime. The comeback nobody saw coming. Early in 2025, tennis pundits were practically writing Mannarino's obituary. With a disappointing 920 record at the ATP level, retirement whispers grew louder with each passing tournament. Critics argued that Father Time had finally caught up with the aging warrior. Yet something remarkable happened. Mannarino discovered a second wind that has left the tennis world scratching their heads. His trademark flat, surgical style of play began clicking again, transforming him from a fading veteran into a legitimate threat. While he may not possess the explosive serve speeds or crushing ground strokes that define today's tennis elite, his tactical brilliance and court positioning have become weapons of mass destruction against unsuspecting opponents. The upcoming third-round showdown against Ben Shelton at the US Open presents a fascinating contrast in tennis philosophies. Shelton embodies everything modern tennis celebrates: explosive power, devastating serves, and youthful athleticism. This matchup becomes even more intriguing considering Shelton recently defeated Mannarino in Toronto, setting up a potential revenge narrative. But here's what makes Mannarino's current run so captivating. His path to this third-round encounter included a stunning upset victory over Talon Griekspoor in the opening round, followed by a solid defeat of Jordan Thompson in round 2. Thompson, incidentally, had been vocal about his complaints regarding the tennis ball conditions at this year's US Open, yet Mannarino adapted seamlessly to the same conditions that frustrated his opponent. Summer Renaissance, proving the doubters wrong. Mannarino's summer campaign reads like a masterclass in defying expectations. At the prestigious Cincinnati Masters, he battled through qualifying rounds to earn his main draw spot, a humbling process for any former top 20 player. Yet, rather than viewing this as a step backward, Mannarino transformed it into fuel for an incredible run. His Cincinnati journey culminated in a fourth-round appearance, where he ultimately fell to world number 1 Jannik Sinner in straight sets. However, the narrow margin of defeat told only part of the story. Along the way, Mannarino had systematically dismantled seeded opponents Tomas Machak and Tommy Paul, showcasing the tactical sophistication that has defined his career. The grass court season revealed another dimension of Mannarino's enduring excellence. His run to the Newport final demonstrated that his game translates beautifully to the sport's most traditional surface. Meanwhile, his third-round appearance at Wimbledon, achieved after successfully navigating qualifying, proved that his grass-court prowess extends beyond smaller tournaments. And this brings us to perhaps the most controversial aspect of Mannarino's career, 3 of his 5 ATP titles arrived in 2023 when he had already crossed the 35-year threshold. In a sport where most players peak in their mid-20s, this achievement borders on the impossible. It raises uncomfortable questions about how we evaluate talent and potential in professional athletics. The numbers game. Experience versus expectations. Let's address the elephant in the room, Mannarino's record against elite competition. His 10-60 mark against top 10 opponents might seem damning, but context reveals a different story. 3 of those 10 victories came during his remarkable 2023 season, with 2 occurring on grass courts where his unique skill set becomes particularly effective. At Grand Slam tournaments, Mannarino has consistently punched above his weight, even when falling short of ultimate victory. His 5-set battle against Andy Murray at the 2015 US Open showcased his ability to push tennis legends to their absolute limits. Similarly, his 2023 encounter with Frances Tiafoe demonstrated that experience and tactical awareness can neutralize even the most explosive young talents. But here's where Mannarino truly shines. Against players ranked outside the elite tier, he becomes a completely different beast. His perfect 10-0 record on the Challenger Tour in 2017 and his outstanding 29-2 mark at that level in 2014 reveal a player who dominates when the playing field becomes more level. Across all 4 Grand Slam tournaments, Mannarino has established himself as a consistent presence, even without reaching a quarterfinal. At Roland Garros, he's advanced to the second round 3 times. The Australian Open has witnessed his progression to the second week twice, in both 2022 and 2024. Wimbledon has seen him reach similar depths on 3 occasions. And at the US Open, his current tournament, he's now reached the third round 6 times, a record of consistency that speaks volumes about his adaptability. The art of adaptation, technical brilliance born from necessity. What truly separates Mannarino from his contemporaries isn't his natural talent. It's his willingness to completely reinvent himself when circumstances demand it. The ATP Tour itself has described his playing style as magic, but this magic didn't happen overnight. In 2015, facing a career-threatening hand injury that severely limited his forehand capabilities, Mannarino made a decision that would have ended many careers. He completely changed his grip. This wasn't a minor technical adjustment. This was a fundamental reconstruction of his primary weapon. The fact that he not only survived this transition, but continued winning matches a full decade later speaks to an almost supernatural level of adaptability. Currently battling ongoing issues with his knee, hip, and hand, Mannarino continues to find ways to compete at the highest level. His approach to equipment provides fascinating insights into his problem-solving mindset. Using string tension as low as 8 kilograms, among the lowest on the entire ATP Tour, he maximizes touch and feel while minimizing the physical stress on his compromised joints. This level of self-awareness and willingness to work within physical limitations offers inspiration far beyond tennis courts. Mannarino has essentially created a blueprint for extending professional athletic careers through intelligence rather than brute force. The ultimate test: can wisdom triumph over power? Mannarino's potential victory over Ben Shelton in this US Open third round would represent more than just another tennis match. It would symbolize the eternal battle between experience and explosiveness, wisdom and raw talent. At 37, Mannarino embodies the argument that tennis success doesn't require conforming to modern athletic stereotypes. His continued presence among the world's top players challenges the industry's obsession with power and speed, suggesting that tactical intelligence and mental resilience deserve equal consideration. But here's the controversial question that no one wants to ask. Are we witnessing the last of his kind? In an era where tennis academies prioritize explosive athletes and powerful ground strokes, will future generations even develop the tactical sophistication that defines Mannarino's game? His story forces us to confront uncomfortable truths about how we define athletic success and whether the sport's evolution toward power has cost us something irreplaceable in terms of tactical variety and strategic depth. What do you think? Does Mannarino's longevity prove that tennis has become too obsessed with youth and power at the expense of experience and intelligence? Should the sport celebrate these tactical masters more, or is the march toward athletic supremacy inevitable and necessary? Share your thoughts on whether players like Mannarino represent tennis at its finest, or if they're simply relics of a bygone era that the sport has rightfully moved beyond.